Thank you, Miles, and good morning, everyone. It's fantastic to see such a full room, and it is a huge pleasure to welcome you all to the City UK's International Conference. Now, is the mic working okay? I'm hearing a little bit of echo, but okay, yes, thumbs up from the back. I would like to join Miles in starting by thanking our wonderful sponsors. It's not possible to do anything without them, Freshfields, HSBC and State Street, as well as, and particularly, our superb group of speakers and panelists who are giving us their very valuable time today. We do have a fantastic lineup. It brings enviable experience and insights, and I would encourage everyone in the room, very much as Miles said, to ask them their most incisive questions when the chance arises, although I suspect our speakers may not always thank me for saying that, but it's great to get a proper debate going. So this may be only our second international conference, but it is very clear, I think, that it will become an increasingly important fixture in the calendar. And it is an important opportunity to reflect on the UK's role as a global financial centre in this most volatile of worlds. I think quite a lot of us have felt for some time as if everything everywhere has been happening all at once. And indeed, many of us in the room may well sympathise with Henry Kissinger, who once said, "There can't be a crisis next week. My schedule is already full." Well, I'm afraid we may well face a few more weeks, months, and even years of full schedules and uncertain times, because as we all know, geopolitical divisions are certainly not softening, intensifying, I think, the headwinds against the cross-border investment that is the lifeblood of our centre here in the UK for financial and professional services. So we will need to advocate strongly for free and fair trade and work to find the common ground and areas of mutual benefit from cooperation. I think building a sustainable future is perhaps the greatest of the opportunities, and I think some real progress has been made there. At the City UK, we have been encouraging bilateral discussions on FTAs and MOUs with key markets, but some challenges, like climate change, are global in nature, and they require an international response. As we all know, CO2 respects no borders. And in these areas, we must ensure coordination and cooperation in the development of standards for all. And it's in this context that we'll have to consider how best to position ourselves for the future, because global competition has always been fierce, but it's only going to get fiercer. When we study other growing financial centres, we see systematic efforts to join up the policies and priorities of government, of regulation, and of industry. And these are often underpinned by a clear sense of what are the long-term policy objectives and ambitions. So we have a chance now to reevaluate our place in the world and respond with a coherent approach. For this, we need an ambitious international strategy that both builds on our strengths and develops new ones. And I'm pleased to say that the City UK, working with members and partners, launched precisely such a plan last year. So today, I'd like to highlight 4 of the many opportunities we can focus on against the current international backdrop. And first, as I've already mentioned, sustainable finance is an area where we can continue to build on our existing strength. Green loans, bonds, and investments form the capstone to global measures to combat climate change. And the UK has already built up a high level of expertise. But we have the chance to create a truly global hub as expansion in green finance accelerates. The global volume of green loans increased by nearly 200 times in the 4 years to 2021, and annual green bond issuance has risen exponentially over the past decade. Second, as global risks show no sign of diminishing around the world, the UK can build on its hard-won reputation as a centre for risk management, mitigation, and advice. UK capital markets should further develop instruments such as catastrophe bonds, insurance-linked securities, and weather derivative contracts to attract further capital to the London risk market. And we must also press other countries to remove limits to international risk transfer. The result will be to drive more insurance and reinsurance businesses into the global market. And by spreading risk across borders and instruments, that market will become larger, more liquid, and more resilient. Thirdly, another opportunity is to attract international investment through Islamic finance offerings. This is a core strength where we lead much of the Western world. UK-based Islamic finance banking assets make up more than 80% of the European total. Meanwhile, the London Stock Exchange has become a global hub for sukuk listings. And our latest research shows that 68 sukuks are currently listed with over $50 billion raised. Global Islamic banking assets grew by more than $1 trillion between 2016 and 2021, and are forecast to grow by another $1.2 trillion by 2026. And fourthly and finally, technology and digitalization. The UK is host to the second largest fintech cluster in the world, behind only the US, and it is home for an enviable pool of world-class talent. However, both talent and technology are famously mobile. The right training, mobility, and tax regimes will incentivize research, development, and innovation. And to stay ahead of the competition, the UK must remain a place where the world wants to come and work. And it must also ensure it remains an attractive destination for international investment, which is the focus of the report we've launched today with Freshfields. These are the battlegrounds of international competitiveness. It's crucial we fight hard on them, and most importantly, that we win that contest, because our international standing is central to the national economy. Financial and related professional services industry contributes 12% of the UK's total economic output. And with 43% of industry exports originating outside of London, it is truly a national industry. It provides nearly 2.5 million jobs right across the country, generating a trade surplus larger than that of all other net exporting industries combined. So to conclude, in a world of accelerating change, there will be things we can control and things we can't. And telling one from the other will help us make these strategic decisions faster and more effectively. There is no doubt that external conditions will have a hand in shaping the development of global financial centres. But internal factors, what we can do right now to boost the competitiveness, the openness and attractiveness of the UK as a financial centre, they are within our power to improve. And this will require a greater measure of alignment across the various decision-making bodies and good collaboration between government, regulators, and industry. A clear and coherent approach will lead to improved confidence in the UK's future. And when the world has confidence in what you're doing, you're more competitive and more attractive to global capital and global talent. So even if the external uncertainty remains as extreme as it is right now. So, thank you again for taking part in the discussion today. Please do play a really active part with your incisive comments and questions. And with that, Miles, I'm going to hand back to you and wish you a wonderful day today. Thank you.
And thank you very much for those comments. I can't think of a better way of kicking off our conference today.